Hey everybody, my name's Dakota or Daktops. I'm here making a little PSA warning video for those interested in taking psychedelics because they're the kind of drugs that can increase your suggestibility towards certain things and ultimately leading to connections that seem profound but are actually schizophrenic. Little side tangent, this is my first video. If the script reading sounds monotonous or I go off script, remembering certain things, that's just learning how to video. Anyway, let's get on with it. This is actually all real. I'm not making anything up. Names are omitted for privacy. I'm just making this video as a warning to those who think these drugs are all like hippy dippy enlightenment and bliss, and things can actually like spiral out of control pretty quickly even while you're not tripping, due to the thoughts that you put in your head through the trip, or like HPPD that sticks with you. And yeah, things like that. So let's get on with how I lost 25 grand to a long and fruitless battle with LSD psychosis. So let's take this back to a few years ago, the summer I ran into my new friends, because this was the true-ish beginning. True-ish being like, this is about the time that things started to fall into the like I've started making the first steps. I had just stopped hanging out with my old friends from middle school, and I was pretty depressed until one day. One day I went to hang out with some girl, and she took me to hang out with what I'll call my grateful family of friends. I'd done psychedelics a few times before this, but my old friends weren't as experimental as my new friends were. So we got into tripping like a lot more and all that. I call them my grateful family of friends because we were mostly deadheads with that whole vibe going on. And it really did feel like a family where everyone belonged, which is something I'd never really felt before growing up on the road and in my old school. They weren't too cool. It seemed perfect, like too perfect almost, which is kind of why I labeled this as the beginning, because like everyone seemed to like click in my head as like having some characteristic that like symbolized something, and that's just like how I processed that, and like everything happened at once, and now I had all these new friends, and like it just came out of nowhere, which was great, but like a lot to process. And going to hang out with the one friend, his house, Jay, his house it always felt very spiritual for some reason, with just like everyone going in and out of it and what went down there and all that. But anyway, fast forward a few months and some trips later, some bad shit happens. My mom decides to leave the house, which I'd been talking, because she wanted to quit alcohol, okay? And I'd been talking about her maybe a break from the toxic city environment we were living in the North Carolina mountains, would basically get her in an environment where she could quit alcohol. Well, she ended up going ahead and divorcing my dad, and she said she'd only be gone a few months, and a few months turned into longer and longer, and she eventually got hooked up with this psychotic boyfriend of hers, and who was really controlling and all that. I don't want to get into it, but at home my dad is falling apart and bringing this show, binging this show, NCIS, which is a cop show. This cop show involving criminal cases and going really into detail about forensics and how the case is solved, and really gory, kind of like what's the word? anesthetically. Nah, I'll try and find it. Anyway, I thought the events transpiring in the show were signs of what was happening in real life based off of what episode he was on. I'm not exactly sure how it correlated, but that's the point. Most of the connections I had made in this video are completely unrelated, yet connected through abuse of the thought patterns and pathways in my brain, which again is why to take this video as a warning. I was losing sleep over this show with him and getting real paranoid. It hadn't helped that my live TV would glitch in freakish ways at the weirdest times that felt unnatural. And it was due to some bad antenna connection, but one night I stayed up all night watching the show, scared that they would kill me when I fall asleep. I slept in a different room to fool them where I was, and I woke up alive, and I started freaking out that I had gotten this idea that Jay's parents' friend was a human trafficker. So I go over to his house, and I go in his bathroom, and I start explaining to him, like, hey, this is this human trafficker dude, and he's just looking at me weird and starts fucking with me. And once he starts fucking with me, I start getting these ideas that everyone was gonna come kill me, and that's why it was all too perfect to be true. And so I got the fuck out of there, and I went to go hit up my friend E at his workplace, and I'm telling him all this shit, and he probably couldn't understand fucking anything that I was saying, but all I remember was him telling me to trust my Kate. So I go and leave, and I'm breaking down, and I go to this gas station I used to work at that I'm banned from, and I'm just like trying to get consolation from the mother kind of figure that worked there, because she was a mom and she knew how to be a mom and shit, and I knew that shit was wrong and I shouldn't have done it, but I had no fucking idea what was happening, and I just wanted to see her. And it was because my mom was gone, obviously, but still should not have done that. And well, the cops get called and they escort me home, and I'm thinking, I'm telling them all this shit about these black and white cars that I'm seeing, because none of these cars I'm seeing are colored. It's all black and white, and I'm seeing them, and I'm telling them, and I'm offering them to take my PC with me and go up to protective custody with them so I don't get killed and all that. They eventually calm me down and let me go, but the whole time I was just freaking out. Yeah. Next thing I remember, however, this was crazy. This Snapchat AI bot had been added. My AI thing. Well, when that came out, I went to question and dissect the whole thing to see, like, what was it about. And, like, I asked it a bunch of, like, prodding questions, like, testing it out. And I was super suspicious of it. And it kept showing, like, these 3 emojis. And these 3 emojis, like, looked like it was targeting me and talking in this cryptic emoji language. And it was, like, this star, and it was circling me, and it was circling the globe. And, like, I interpreted it as it targeting me somehow. And so I call up my friend B to see what was up with it, and I picked him up, and on the way we get this scary ass phone call, and I hung up fucking quick as shit. So we get home, he plugged my phone into my computer, ran some command prompt, and came to the conclusion that the whole phone had been hacked by the Chinese. I came to this conclusion somehow in my head, but I don't know how exactly it came about. So we start trying to get his Russian friends, see what's up with it, because he was just friends with some Russian dudes. And we start driving in separate cars, but we get separated. And we were going to go meet at this middle school for some reason, so I just drive there, but he didn't go there. And I get there, and there's these blacked out cars, these vans, and this girl sitting in a lotus position down in this little valley where the school is. And I just didn't know what the fuck that was. It felt like a trap. Like, I went to go down there and talk to her, and these guys would yank me. So, assuming uncompromised, I go and throw my phone out and smash the fuck out of it with the staff Jay's dad made me. And I drove the fuck out of there and met back up with B. And that was another just example of some crazy ass shit that goes down through psychosis. And at the same time, I'm taking on these ideas of being a leader because I'm trying to put together a band with some of the friends I had, but we couldn't really play. Nonetheless, we tripped and tried to make music a bunch. And since I was mostly the one getting everyone together, I saw myself as kind of leading the whole thing, which will kind of be important later, because later on I started getting delusions of being the whole fucking tribe leader and crypto CEO illusions, but that'll get there. So that summer, me and E are walking up to Michigan. Going up. We're not going to walk up to Michigan. We're going up to Michigan to meet with our friend R and go to this festival. We ended up taking a bunch of psychs and have a great fun time at the festival. And at this point, I thought, like, through, like, the focusing and unfocusing my eyes and looking at these lights weirdly, I unlocked DMT in my brain. And, like, I had no idea what I was doing to my, like, muscle memory, but, like, that was not it. DMT is in the brain and is released when you die, but that was not triggering it. That was just, like, sharpening my eyes and unfocusing them and, like, pushing the blood flow up to my head and eyes. And I couldn't explain it very well, but I had kept thinking this until I went to the psych ward, and I thought it was some power, right? And I was just psyched out by that. Later that summer, we went to see King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, video on its own, and things were mostly chilling until fall comes around and my mom comes back to Ohio to visit with her psychotic boyfriend. And yeah, I ended up opening up and being super vulnerable and telling him about all the delusions, schizophrenic shit that was happening earlier that year, thinking low-key I was going to be the Messiah or whatever, but taken out. And he comes in threatening, like he was going to do something with this knowledge that I was, like, carefully giving him. And he's like, yo, I might fuck you up. And, like, that was the vibe I was getting. So I just fucking went along, played ball, smoked his cigarettes, and smoked his weed, and tried to play it cool even though I was crying. Literally crying over the fact that, like, he was taking my mom and manipulating the shit out of her. and I was too much of a pussy and short-sighted to do anything about it, I guess. But he's gone now, thank God. But shit. Anyway, yeah, he was claiming to be a mental health guru, holding this center down in North Carolina, and it's just a load of horse shit because he's a narcissist and a bunch of shit. But yeah, he played into my ideas of being hunted down, which honestly is a fucking dick move. And yeah, he leaves. Things go alright for about 6 months, and then I moved to North Carolina at a campground for the summer. The most delusional part of this time was smoking weed in the city and thinking that I'd release demons into the area, and all my campground neighbors were like demons relating to like my psyche. And a few things about from I Have No Mouth and Must Scream, which is a terrifying book. And I stopped smoking weed that summer, which something I haven't really done that much since I was fucking 13. So that shit was good. And I started having all these super vivid dreams, which wasn't so good because it played into like these fantasies that I had, and I would write them down, and they were like prophetic, and I would wait for them to play out in real life, and it was weird. Later that summer, I went to like the same festival but like slightly different location in Michigan, and got like super paranoid. I kept hearing the word horny every time I took a breath, and it really fucked with my head because I was fucking terrified. I was scared and anxious. I didn't even trip. I just smoked weed. But later that night, I smoked weed with some campers, and that night everything seemed to change. I still sometimes have dreams about how this felt. Like, I lost the ability to talk, and one of the girls there, her voice started sounding super robotic, and there was like line slashes of images in my vision, like 27 and like shit like that, like bloody scratches on the wall, and like but like in your eyeballs, you know what I mean? And I just like, it felt like getting raised up by my ass and just wandering backwards into the woods. I just left him after one dude like took a swig of water on his acid trip. I like raised up and left. Maybe it was some fucking weird trip magic playing into his shit, but I felt completely out of control, and like I started hearing the voices of the woods in the distance, and darkness was swallowing me. I could not control where I moved. It was like a hand grabbed me by my butt and was dragging me through the woods around, and like I was like fiddling backwards on my legs, and I eventually got back with E and fell asleep. But the next day I kept hearing these things in the woods, like I was in the woods of the Roman gods and Saturn, Jupiter, and shit like that. And I felt like E's dog, hearing his voice say shit. You say shit you'd say to your dog. And just feeling that tug towards him. It was weird, okay? I don't know how to explain it other than that. It was very heavy and anxiety-inducing trip, but still kind of fun. Weirdly, that same night was half of Microsoft's servers went down. It was a huge thing that year, I guess, and it happened that night, and like I was hearing that computer voice, and like I was afraid of Am and shit. So that's that. And summer ends, and I moved back to Ohio for some months, and this is where it gets bad. I had B living with me because some shit that happened, and we started to get in some bad shit. LSD, Molly, going to check out abandoned shit, and just won something very interesting too. I'd won a lawsuit earning $25,000 for having vaped as a teenager. It was a Juul trial, right? Well, I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna get rich based off of crypto. And being the dumbass I was, I started to invest because I thought this was a lump sum of money I could make even bigger, like just incremental investing, right? I started dumping money into crypto coins, hoping that I would get rich off of them. But I was just losing money, and I didn't even realize it. Thanks to the acid, I ended up losing track of the original goal and started buying tons of these coins that just sounded cool. And I thought they were like bionic upgrades. They were meme coins. I thought they gave me superpowers. When I bought them, I did my little DMT head ritual, and I thought they upgraded me. Eventually, I started buying big into this crow coin, which in my head was associated with crows and sort of my spirit animal, along with butterflies. I believe this was one of my first memories. Something like the big crow from Pink Floyd's The Wall, mixed with the scene from the Whirly Durly Experience in Rick and Morty. Like, it's crazy, trippy memory. But there was a crow that was like dying in a field. And as I'm buying one day, I shit you not, I still cannot explain this. These glasses appear on my face. And I don't know how it happened, but it's too weird not to remember. I never bought them. I never got them from anywhere. They just appeared on my face. And I started wearing them because I thought they looked good on me. Even though they were fucking prescribed lenses, so it kind of fucked with my vision. Around the same time, it was fucking magic glasses. Like, how is that not gonna destroy your psychosis? And like, I don't have any like gaps in memory, like blackouts or whatever from that, but like, I know that I did not like black out and come across those. Anyway, around the same time, I had started talking to this girl from high school again. And she had once said something to me that made me believe in magic. So, like, I don't know. There was also this one time where, like, I thought some fucking ornament appeared once I got out of my car to Jay's house. And, like, some ornament that said Merry Christmas on Christmas literally just popped out of thin air. And I don't know how to explain shit like that. But I thought it was from her energy. And so I started being annoying, spamming her with all this nonsense about crypto and how we're going to be rich one day. And one time, during either a mushroom trip or an acid trip, she blocks me out of nowhere. And that same night, like, I came across these, like, heavenly, like, acid visualizers. And I thought, like, the videos I was recording was, like, kind of, like, conceiving this video out of like the creativity of like some like the bliss of sex, but like not really. I don't know. I was tripping very hard on acid that night, or mushrooms. No, that was acid, but it might not have been the same trip. Anyway, I ended up keeping on messaging her, and I couldn't let go. This kind of like broke me. I just kept messaging her to give me the illusion that I was talking to her, and I was sending her all of the art and shit that I was doing. And one day I went to her work to see her, but we didn't really talk because it was so busy. And I'd been snapping her old account, blah blah blah. One day, while it was closed, I don't know if it was out of rage or like letting go or like psychosis, but I decided to smash my $500 laptop to pieces. I cleaned it up, so like I didn't even like cause a ruckus or anything. I just fucked myself over. But yeah, all the while I'm sending all this crazy cryptic shit, not only to this girl who blocked me, but also to a bunch of strangers, and my friend R, who, huge shout out to, really stood the test of time with my bullshit and dealt with my delusions and gave me the recommendation to make this video. And just been a real homie, guiding me through the trips over the years, and yeah, and trying to keep me calm while I binged weed and did nothing to better myself. You were truly homie for that, and I'm sorry if I'm not putting into perspective how crazy this was. This is for everyone else, right? Okay. Yeah, like these messages were like laser eye visual, like crazy videos of me like just recording random shit on my computer and like thinking it made sense, and like making these huge like art canvases on my computer with like a bunch of tabs, different pieces of art mixed into one like giant like mosaic. And like it was cool, but like the way I recorded it looked like a crazy ass person, and I could like he got most of those messages, and a bunch of strangers on Instagram, a bunch of strangers, and just friends too. Jay ended up blocking me because of most of the crazy shit, and like it was like related to those crypto superpowers and like VR Ready Player One shit. Whole mess, right? I made myself look like a scary delusional freak and put that on my friends, family, strangers, and the whole time I thought I was winning the crypto shit. So it was not cool, alright? I scared a lot of people, and that was not alright. And I laugh about that as like not okay, but like seriously, just take a second to think about things like this before you just like hop into 10 tabs, because like I've seen some pretty crazy shit with the trips I've been on, and just the people I've experienced, and strangers too. Like, I don't know, people do drugs a lot, okay? Anyway, I thought I was edge running like in Cyberpunk, because there was this stock I bought, dog whiff hat, right? I thought it was related to Wi-Fi, so I went to different Wi-Fis, and I like bought them and sold them at different places, and I thought that was making a profit, but I was just losing out. It got so bad to where these tattoos seemed to randomly appear on people's bodies. The first time it happened was terrifying. I was driving home tripping with a girl, and we were driving. I see some lasers, and the chemical molecule for LSD is on her forearm. I warned her about the power of LSD, and I think we were having like a weirdish, baddish trip. We were going back to my house, and so I don't know what happened, if it was karma or what, but like just like the glasses and the ornament, this shit seemed to be straight up magic. Okay, I was terrified, and they seemed to randomly appear on other people too, which took me to my crazy homeless night, because I came to the conclusion that it was lead in the water. So I came to downtown, and I'm like yelling at everyone, there's lead in the water, there's lead in the water, it's gonna fucking fuck you up, right? And I'm like, okay. And I skate from downtown back to my home overnight in a cold ass night. I don't know how homeless people do it. I'm eternally grateful, because sleeping out in the street that night was terrible and cold as fuck. And I had money on me, so I can't imagine being actually homeless. I'm praying for all those people right now. Anyway, after the homeless prayer, a few weeks go by, and I get the idea that a war is coming on. So at 4 in the morning, I go out and ring all my neighbors' doorbells and say, "A war's coming, a war's coming." I was a year too early for this. But yeah, they put me in the loony bin where they kept my mouth shut and kept me there for a month until I calmed down. By the time I was out, all the cryptos were all down to zero, and I had pretty much nothing left to show for myself compared to what I won earlier that same year. Other than like a few pipes and whatnot. They injected me with this drug that was supposed to help my schizophrenia, but I ended up being allergic to it. And this is the worst experience I've ever had. The psych ward and this, they fucking made my muscles converge and convulge so I couldn't, like, actually move. And, like, my throat was closing up and, like, it was terrible. And, it lasted like a few days. Like, it came and it went over a few days. It was terrible. And yeah, I mean, not much of the video, to be fair, is about the money. But if you clicked on that thinking that, then sorry about your luck. It's more just like a warning video about dangers of jumping straight into psychedelics like acid and mushrooms mostly is what I'm thinking of, but it could be anything. You know, that was my 2 drugs of choice. But yeah, especially if you're predisposed to schizophrenia like me. Take this shit slow, or don't take it at all. I went way too fast and started getting these ideas that just weren't real. So if it happened to me, same thing can happen to you. It's not all colors and rainbows and enlightenment, because that enlightenment will lead you down a delusional path if you're not careful. Even if you're not, I would still take it slow, because who knows what kind of mental knots need to be tied together to land up in the loony bin like I did. Anyway, thanks for watching this little PSA info video. I'll probably come out with a few more storytime videos or commentary videos sometime soon. Nothing too crazy though, because I can't figure out the editing shit. Might fucking do something with it though. I don't know. It's just commentary so far, what I got in mind. Anyway, yeah. Acid, mushrooms, be careful. Stay safe. Have a good night, y'all.